Hello everyone, Eric the Norman here, back on the CubeCommunity server. Shit. Perfect. In my intro, you bastard. Anyhow, I want to talk a bit about a certain theme today, but just a bit of clarification. This video will not be about the gameplay. It will be completely about the commentary, and if you find that a bit boring, then not your video. Anyhow, alright, so you stuck with me so far, so hopefully you will find this slightly interesting. Today I want to talk about a subject that I feel is not being raised enough when it comes to gaming. And what is that subject? Well, it's underage gaming. Or in theory, it's age limits when it comes to gaming. Because I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. And you know, he's the dad of my best friend, although me and him, you know, good friends. It's sort of weird when you grow up, you sort of become friends with your dad's friends, and you know, you just become friends with everyone. So yeah, well, anyway, so we were talking with this guy, at my uncle's, or at my cousin's, birthday party, and we were talking about the age limits, because in his family, with my friend, they've been very strict. You know, you're not allowed to play 18-year-old games until you're literally 18 years old. They sort of start to loosen up when you're about 15, but you get the point. I mean, they take the age limit rather seriously. And we were talking about it, because obviously his oldest son is now old enough to play everything, because he passed 18, and his youngest son is like 16. So the age limit isn't the problem for them anymore. And then they were talking as like, what's the meaning of it? Because it doesn't seem like a lot of people follow it. And I'll have to agree. Games like Counter-Strike, for example, which I play the most of. That's the game I absolutely play the most of. And it's the only game that I play online that actually has, you know, a age limit. Because Minecraft has 3 years old. And that's, you know, sort of logical. So, we were talking about it. And he was like, well, why do they have it? If they know nobody's going to follow it, why do they have it? And I was like, well, I think the easiest answer for that is simply if they don't want to get sued. And I think that has something to do with it when it comes to shops. Because, you know, obviously if a shop sells a game to someone that's under 18 and the game says it has a age limit on 18, then they can get in trouble for it. Because that's a very good thing I need to clarify in the start of it, is that as an age limit, it's not something that you're not allowed to play the game until you're that age. That's not what the age limit actually is, and a lot of people have this misunderstood, including that friend of mine. And I was like, but the age limit isn't there to set who plays or not. It's there to basically, first off, tell parents that this game is suggestively not for your kid if they're 8 and it's an 18, you know, 18 aged game. But it's not punishable for a parent to buy a kid an 18-year-old game. That's up to the parents. That's their decision. And he was like, but I don't get that logic. Why would you have it if it doesn't stop them from playing it? And obviously, it's just, you know, first off, to save the shopkeepers. Because obviously, you know, if this is for me, I mean, I'm still a couple of years off being a parent, and I know parents at, you know, 20. That's not my point. My point is, I'm not in the stage of my life where I would even have kids. So at this point in time, as gay as it sounds, I really don't want a relationship because there's too much shit going on. And then I have some, you know, I don't really know what I want to do professional wise. As in, do I want to work? Do I want to try and make it as a gamer, streamer, you know, whatever. I still have a couple of years to figure that out. And when I figure that out, then you know, I'll be more open for relationships. But now I don't need to. I have no need for it. I'm more than social enough with friends. You know, I hang around with girls, but not in that way. But my point is that even if I had a kid at this point, I would definitely not let him play as being a young kid. I wouldn't let him play high age games like 16 and 18. And don't get me wrong, the 16 games, like the 16 age games, are arguably worse than the 18-year-olds. But it's different criteria to what they give. I'll go this way. I'll do some strip mining in the stream. That's good. So I mean, it's a really difficult thing because I wouldn't personally do it. If I had a kid, I wouldn't let him play, you know, a game with a certain age limit. But that's because I've seen what it sort of gives and all that. I mean, I started playing Counter-Strike at the age of 8. And that game, Counter-Strike Source at that point, and 1.6 even, had a 16-year-old limit to buying it. But not to playing it, to buying it. You know, you gotta specify that every time, because people tend to get that very confused. And you know, humorously enough, the place I figured it out and found the game was actually at my, this will give you a bit of a backstory if you know who I am, but I started playing it at my friend's house, and his father was the one that sort of showed us the game. And, you know, we were both 8, I was 8, he was 7 or 6, and I was 7 and 8, somewhere around that age. And he was showing us this game, and we found it to be cool, you know, you get to shoot the bad guy, you even get to be the bad guy and shoot the good guy, so, you know, it was all good. And this guy went on to be the principal of my local high school and is now a politician. But is that being a bad father? Allowing a quote-unquote minor to play a 16-year-old game? No, I don't think so, not at all. Would I do it, personally? I don't know. I mean, Counter-Strike is a very, despite being 16 years old, it's a very sort of setback game. You know, you do kill people, and if you're gonna let kids, you know, play that, better to explain to them that, you know, this is something that's happening in a video game. This is not morally right to do, you know, in real life. But I'd probably let them play it. Would I let them play, you know, Grand Theft Auto? No. Did I play it? Yeah. Did I take any harm from it? Well, you can argue yourself, but no, not really. So what is then stopping me from letting, you know, eventually my kids do it? And I can't really tell you that I have an answer. I was lying in bed. I've really just sort of woken up to do this commentary because I felt like, you know, I felt inspired to do it. And I was like, why wouldn't I do it? Because in my mind I'm thinking, no, I wouldn't. I honestly would not let them. And then my brain's like, but why wouldn't you? You did it. And you turn out alright. I mean, I haven't taken any mental issues from it. I might be a bit hard around the edges when it comes to, you know, feelings and shit, but I don't at all, you know, think that's a good idea to go around shooting people. So why? I can't tell you. When I have that answer, I will make sure to let you guys know. But I can't tell you I got an answer for it. My best option would be I don't want to be responsible for my kid, you know, picking up things from a video game. And I think that is one of the reasons why there is age limits. Feel free to discuss this in the comment field. I mean, it's a very touchy subject because, you know, it's very relevant in today's society. And I don't know. I just wouldn't. I'm not saying that my kids or kid would take damage of it. But I'm still saying I wouldn't risk it. And I know, you know, I could know deep inside that I didn't take any damage from it, but it's still enough to make me think, well, I didn't, but maybe they do. I don't want to grow up, or I don't want to, you know, be an elderly person having kids that's gone to jail for doing horrible things, and I know that I may have been a part of it. Now, will I wait until they're 16 to play, for example, Counter-Strike? Do I want to wait until they're like 18 until they, you know, let them play Grand Theft Auto? No. First of all, I don't see a point in that. By the time they're 12, even 13 at least, most kids have a general sense of what's wrong and what's right in life, and you're not going to change that whether you play a game or not. So at that point, no, I wouldn't mind. I'm not going to sit there and hold on for them, you know, forever. They're going to be growing up at one point. Is that the only factor? No, it's because I know kids are creative. They're going to get the games no matter how you look at it. Again, going back to that friend of mine, who we did some call-ups in my old video, or old channel. I'll see if I can bring him on at one point. But we got creative because we both wanted to play Counter-Strike. He played at my place. I mean, come on. So when they finally released Counter-Strike Go, which was, I don't know the year. It was like 3 years ago. He was like, dude, can you buy me the game? Because I don't dare to do it. I don't want my dad to find out that I've done it. But, you know, he can't sort of get angry at you for doing it for me. Well, he could. You know, looking back at it, he definitely could, but he wouldn't because he's that kind of person. And I thought, to be honest, I don't think he would have been mad at the son either. But the point is, you can't keep kids from doing it. It doesn't work that way. We were like 14 at this point. Oh, well, he was 14. I was 15. And I was like, you know, I want to buy this as a present for him because, you know, to sort of, you know, conceal the fact that I was buying him a game. So I bought him as a present when he turned 15. I was still 15 at this point because we don't separate a full year. It's like 8 months. He's 1 year below me when it comes to grades and shit, but, you know, we don't separate that much. And I mean, that's the part of the age limit that I want to touch on next. Because I got bought into the game and he, you know, took no scars from that. He was 15, played it, still plays it. When he started playing it, he sort of hid it from his dad, so whenever he came up, you know, we would close it down and shit. So it was sort of bitchy, but they sort of figured that out, and obviously at this point the dad knows that he plays it, and there's really no issue about it. But that brings me to the next point of the age limit. Do I think it's effective? No, not really. I mean, yeah, sure, you're gonna stop them from buying it in-game, but I'm thinking, or in store rather, but I'm thinking, alright, so if you have a kid that's, you know, alright, and he knows his way around the computer. He's, let's say, 15 or 14, and he wants, you know, a Counter-Strike Global Offensive 16 years old game, and he comes up to the parents and go, can I buy it? And they go, no, you cannot. Don't you think he would just find another way, either by his mates buying it or simply just pirating it? And that is one major part that is keeping age limits down, is pirating. I can't really blame others. I have pirated things myself. Do I still do it? Well, I can't really say that online. Do I think it's wrong pirating? Yeah, I sort of do. Do I understand why people do it? Yes. And it's very important to have standards when pirating, because you know, I have friends, I have people that, you know, pirate everything. And they're like, well, yeah, it's just pirating. And I sort of get their point. You know, again, I have pirated something myself, quite a fair bit. And they're like, but you know, it's pirating. Did the company get enough money no matter what? And I can sort of agree at certain things. Certain companies definitely get enough money. Now, if it's a game that I think, you know what, I honestly don't think this is going to be a good game, but I'll give it a shot. At that point, let's take Mad Max. I think that was my latest of those. And they were like, yeah, you know, it's a good game. I looked at it, it was like, yeah, this is a game that I can like, you know, massively open world and all that good stuff. And I pirated it. I'll admit that much. And then I was like, well, yeah, this is a really good game. And the developers have done a really good job. And at this point, I have standards, which tells me, alright, well, they've done a, you know, immaculate job of this game that I've had. At that point, I had like 10 hours, you know, set into it. I think I have like 40 now. I sort of stopped it because, you know, it gets to the point where you don't play it anymore. And I was like, well, it's really good. I've really had a good time. And although I'd played through most of the interesting part of the game, I sort of just had to wrap it up. I still went and bought it after torrenting it, or pirating it, and then I paid for it full price, and played whatever I played of it after, and then I sort of put it away. And that is something that is really, what can I say? It's a part that people don't have. A lot of people don't have what I call morals when it comes to pirating. Because pirating is free. I mean, it's like going to a shop and grabbing something that's free. Most people that grab things that's free don't have morals. Now, I'm not trying to say everyone that pirates don't have morals. That's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is that people need to, you know, if there are games that are good and you know, you've pirated it, feel free to buy it afterwards and show the developers, you know what, this was a good game. I really liked it. I want more of it. And that might be enough to boost the developers a bit. And I can say, well, personally, I have the economy to buy every game I want. As in, if there's a new game that comes out, I can buy it. Economy-wise, that's no problem with me. Other people, it may be a problem, so therefore they may seem to pirating. But let's not sidetrack too much when it comes to pirating. My point is, you're not gonna keep a child or a teen or a young adult And this comes from me. I'm 18. I'm not an adult. Well, legally speaking, I am, but I don't act like an adult, and I don't really feel like an adult. But my point still stands, is that if a teenager or a young adult wants a game, and it has an age limit that he cannot play, there are other ways of getting it. So why do they put them there in the first place? And it goes back all the way to the first point I made, which is the age limits are there to protect the sellers of the game. Completely. There's nothing else to it. I mean, owners of the game knows that, you know, the age limit is never going to be, you know, held to where it probably should be. I'm not saying that, you know, you should remove age limit just because they don't work, but necessarily that they don't work. And then they need to act accordingly. I mean, I don't see a point in putting age limits on every game. And they really need to get it. I think it's time. We're in such a new era of games that the people that, you know, set the age limits need to take a sit down. You know, sit down a bit. Think, right, what of our things that we've set are alright? And then they need to figure out what new things. Because I honestly don't think, and I mean this in the best way, but I don't think that the current way they measure what age limit there should be on a game is good enough. By the simple fact that it tends not to be. Games have higher than they should, games have lower than they should, but they have age limits nonetheless. It's annoying, yes, especially when you're young, you want to play, you know, Grand Theft Auto and that, but at the end of the day, there is nothing stopping people from downloading, from getting friends to buy it, etc. Yeah, it makes it harder for them. And you could draw this conclusion to so many things when it comes to driving and beer and you know that. But those things are legitimately illegal, so you can't compare them. Torrenting game, yeah, that is illegal, don't get me wrong. If you download a game, that is illegal, you're doing something wrong. And you can be punished by it. But if you buy a game when you're not 18 years old, and there are shops that don't care. I mean, local shops in small areas where everyone knows each other tend to be very, very specific if you can buy it or not. And not like one shop will buy it and one will not. But the thing is, when you live in a closed area, they're going to go, does your mom or does your dad know you're buying this? And then you either have two choices. You have like, yes, which you're lying to them. And if your parents finds out, they're going to be in trouble. And then you have the no, and they're going to ask if your parents know, then you're going to say no, and you're not going to get the game. Or you're going to say, yeah, they know. No, they don't know. They're going to call it, and it's going to be okay. So there's, you know, a couple of things that can turn out each way. But generally speaking, in local areas, they tend to say no a lot more often. If you go to the city, they could not care less. Yeah, sure, there are games. Major game stations really don't want to, because they can get in really big troubles for it. But generally speaking, if you go out of town into a big city, you'll find a shop that sells it, and they'll sell it for you without, you know, caring too much. Because I think age limits, generally speaking, is just out. They don't follow it. Kids will find a way to get a game without it, and you know, the shop loses money for it. And that's about it. That's all I want to talk about. Should you watch the age limit? Should you respect the age limit? Yeah, to a certain degree. Should you, you know, take it as the law? No, you shouldn't. It's not meant as a law. Again, it's very important to specify, just because a game's 18 years old to buy it, you don't necessarily have to be 18 years old to play it. That's not in the rule book. So, yeah. Not too Minecraft related, but I think I brought up a point that might be a bit important, because I don't think a lot of people actually take it up. And then, that's the final end of this video. I want to thank so many people, because there's been so much support lately. On the CC community. I mean, we've got a couple of new members. I'll go over those in a similar, you know, as the next video of Minecraft. I didn't have anything to talk about in game. I was just doing making a path and all that. I thought I would discuss a bit of importancy, what I think is important, because I think that's a good thing to do. But I mean, yeah, these diamonds I've only gotten from getting gravel. But we'll get to Minecraft, and I'll introduce the new members. I want to thank especially Roshan for being very patient. Lately there's been a very big amount of Counter-Strike videos, which isn't really CC related, although there's a CC group for it. So if you play, Counter-Strike and you make YouTube videos, feel free to apply there, and we'll sort that out when we get there. But I want to thank you so much for being giving me a bit of leeway with the Minecraft videos itself. And thanks for you guys for watching, especially you guys who came from YouTube, from Counter-Strike. I've gotten, I don't know, 5 or 6 subscribers lately, the couple of last days, just because I've played YouTube. No, I've played Counter-Strike, and my YouTube's linked there. So, I mean, it's great. I like playing Counter-Strike. If people want to watch me play Counter-Strike, that's great. I'm considering doing some montages, but I think I'll just, because right now I'm saving all the footage I record, so I think I might do one, at the end of the year or something. So we'll see. But thank you so much for watching, and yeah, take care. Remember, everything in life isn't black and white, and give people some leeway. If a child really wants the game, look into the game. Is it really that bad? And then make your decision from there. The child will most likely understand. That's also a thing when it comes to age limit. The child will most likely, or the kid. I remember this from when I was young, although I didn't really have too much about it. Again, my parents were not that strict. But it's a lot better to tell the kid, I don't want you to have the game because it's too violent, than to tell the kid, I don't want you to have the game because it's 18 plus. Because that's just a number. That doesn't get that. If it's too violent, he might go, well, okay, fair enough. I'm not old enough. But if you say, well, it's because you're not 18, then it's like, well, what's the difference? So make sure that you specify that. Alright, that's enough for serious me. Thank you so much for watching. Do remember to leave a like and share the video. And also subscribe if you want to get an update whenever I release a video. And, I think we'll say good evening with that before the creeper ruins my life. Yoddly, 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 yoddly. Alright, see you guys.